Hey guys, I'm Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to do our initial thoughts on the new Blue Lotus by Alex Cruz, Shapes or Die. So you would have seen a while ago, probably about 18 months ago, we checked out the original Lotus by Alex Cruz. We've checked out a few of his other boards on our reviews. Big fan of Alex, love his brother Mitch's surfing, and his shapes are really, really cool. If you're familiar with the Lotus, you would remember it had flat deck, very 80s inspired. Deck drops away to a nice little rail, holds a lot of volume through the center. And the Lotus, you kind of rode a little bit shorter, a little bit wider, and it was good for, you know, grovelly through to kind of decent waves. So now Alex has come out with the Blue Lotus. So the Blue Lotus I've got is not too far off the custom dims, but it's slightly stock, and it is 5'11", 19.5, 2 9/16, and it's exactly 33 liters. So looking over the Blue Lotus, similar characteristics to the original Lotus. Flat deck, holds its volume, very thick through the belly, and then it drops away into a nice rail. Similar to the original Lotus also. Ooh, don't want to bang that. Nice little kind of hip bump that pulls it into a nice tighter tail. The main difference with the Blue Lotus has this nice round tail that's actually quite tight and quite narrow. We'll talk a little bit more about that later and in the full review. Looking over it, pretty kind of gentle rocker, nothing too aggressive, keeping it really easy to surf, still very 80s inspired, but a little bit of a high performance twist. So I've surfed the Blue Lotus 2 or 3 times now. Originally chatting with Alex, and when I saw it come out, saw some clips, was thinking it was kind of like a step up. And people have heaps of, since I've posted photos, comments on this, people have connected with me. Not so much a step up, but probably just sits above that Lotus in a slightly bigger and slightly better wave range. But saying that, it is still, I've noticed, is really likes to surf, and it likes to generate speed. And still, when you're thinking step ups, I'm thinking, you know, my shortboard's kind of 5'11", 6 foot, step up's kind of 6'4". This is still 5'11". So I'm just thinking this sits just above the Lotus, maybe more of a bigger, better wave board, not so much a step up. So you definitely could have both in your quiver. And I think that Lotus kind of taps out in that bigger wave range, where the Blue Lotus will hold through that wave range. And it'll also cover a lot of that smaller wave range. And I think the reasons for that are the Blue Lotus still holds the nice little hip through the back there. So, you know, you hold some width through here, but it pulls into a nice tight tail. So what I've noticed in my couple of surfs, still quite loose, still quite maneuverable. Saying that, I've only surfed it as a thruster, and my initial surfs have been with the AM2s, which is a large Almeric fin by Futures, and the John Florence. Had a chat with Alex, and he really likes the Hayden Shapes thrusters by Futures, and also the quads. So I'm going to chuck them in, and I'm going to chuck a few others. While I think this works really well, still in that small range wave, similar to the original Lotus, but then when you go into the big wave range, I think having this quad option, so this bump, this kind of hip that comes into a nice tight tail, keeps it very loose, very maneuverable. And in our full review, because it's only initial thoughts, in our full review we'll have some surfing and it will show that. But then when you throw some quads in and you muck around with what quad set works for you, you're going to tighten it up a lot. And when you have bigger and better waves, it won't feel so loose. It'll feel more controlled, more like a bigger board, but having a thruster in it, it still feels loose, feels like nice short board that's very maneuverable, very easy to surf. And so far, I'm absolutely frothing on it. I must say, getting it, you've probably seen our last, few reviews. We've got a couple of shortboards kind of in the pipeline, but I have been riding a lot of mid-lengths, a lot of twins, a lot of things that have an outline kind of probably more like this. So seeing this really pointy, high performance kind of front end, I was a little hesitant. I was like, oh, it's been a while since I've surfed something so pointy. But flipping it over to that volume through the front there and that thickness made it really easy to surf, and there was absolutely nothing to worry about. So it felt good, kind of like transitioning back to a pointy, more of a performance shortboard, but still having something that held volume, was easy to paddle, easy to surf, and a whole lot of fun. So yeah, first impressions, first initial thoughts are easy to surf, easy to paddle. Volume, I'd say my shortboard's now like 32, 33 liters. This is 33 liters. I'm just shy of 5'11". This is 5'11". Feels really good. I could have ridden this as a 6'0". I could have widened it, had it as a 5'10". Could also have it as a 6'4", as a proper step up. Really, if you're looking at one, you're not waiting for our full review. Just sizing kind of, I think, shortboard or plus. Your height or plus, depending what you want the board to do. If you want it to surf waves in kind of that, say, waist high, say 2 foot to kind of 5 foot range, probably go around your own height, your own volume. If you want it as a step up, you think you'll be riding more of a quad, don't be afraid to go, you know, 2, 3, 4 inches bigger and have it as a longer board. I think it would be an absolute dream of a paddler. Has enough rocker through the bottom and the front end to keep you out of trouble in bigger, suckier, steeper conditions, but still a whole lot of fun for groveling. So just work out what you want the board for. You know, size it like a short board for, you know, your everyday conditions. Don't be afraid to go a little bit longer, add a bit more beef if you want it for bigger and better waves. Look, again, this is our initial thoughts. So if you've got any questions about the Blue Lotus, fins you want to see, anything else, please comment below or hit us up on Instagram at the Surfboard Guide. We've got a few posts up about this board. We'll have some stories. Full review will be out in a couple of weeks and it will include some surfing. So between now and then, let us know your thoughts, your questions, anything that we don't normally include in reviews that you want to hear about the Blue Lotus, we can put in the review. But also if you've just got questions in the meanwhile, I know there's a lot of people that were frothing on the Lotus and want to go on the Blue Lotus and they've got questions. They've seen clips of really good surfers like Alex and stuff surfing it, but they want to know how it works for the average surfer. So don't be afraid, hit us up on Instagram at the Surfboard Guide, comment below, I'll try and get back to everything. But until then, this is the initial thoughts. Thanks Alex for sending the board down for us to review and for offering to get some clips together. It's been really easy to surf, so I'm hoping it's going to be pretty easy to put some footage together. But can you get those clips together, get the full review out and get to any of your questions? So thanks again to Alex for the board and thanks for watching. We'll have the full review coming out in the next few weeks. Thank you so much.